Hello everyone, how are you today? I hope everyone's doing well. So today we're talking about how to eat intuitively instead of binging, restricting, and maybe why you're still binging. So if you come on, please say hello, let me know you're here. I'd love to say hi to you, and if you happen to catch the replay, #replay, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Don't be shy, pop them in the comments for me. I'm always happy to answer your questions. So we're going to talk about how to eat intuitively instead of being stuck in that, restricting and then binging cycle that when we get stuck in like a diet, that yo-yo dieting cycle, and we're just always restricting, and then we don't want to restrict anymore, and so then we go a little crazy and we overeat or we binge. So the thing with intuitive eating can feel like just this really big leap when you first take it on. And I know it can be something that's scary, like you're afraid to leave the world of dieting because it's what you've known for so long. And when we know that, like everything that we know is safe, right? Things that we don't know, things that are new, we get a little nervous or they're a little scary. Like for example, my daughter, my little 4-year-old just started dance class. And of course, this is brand new to her. She's never gone to a dance class before. She didn't know what to expect. And she told me, she was nervous. And I told her that was completely normal to feel that way. But you're going to have a good time. You're going to make new friends. It's going to be great. You love to dance, so it's going to be wonderful. And sure enough, she got into it and she loved it. She thought it was great. She wanted to go back. Well, the following week came. She was excited to go again, and she admitted, we got there and she's like, I'm a little nervous again. And I was like, that's okay. It's okay to be nervous. I said, but it's going to be just like it was last time. You're going to go in and you're going to have a great time, and it's going to be just wonderful. And again, she came out and it was great and it was wonderful. She had a good time. She can't wait to go back. So the same thing with when you first take on anything new, regardless of what it is, especially with intuitive eating. It's scary. If you've never done it before, you don't know, and you're afraid to leave that dieting world that you've known that for so long. That's all you've known, right? Good morning, Antoinette. How are you? Thanks for coming on. So that's what it can be like, with anything that we start new. But once you get into it, and once you start doing it, you realize you're like, oh, this wasn't so scary after all. And you know what? I actually really like it. And I actually like it even better. So with intuitive eating, it is scary to take that first big leap into it for sure. But, it might make you feel like you're failing, because it's something new, you don't know. But because you have maybe you're still binging and you're restricting for so long. And then you think, okay, well, intuitive eating is supposed to help me cure this, right? Well, first of all, let's look at intuitive eating. Intuitive eating, it's not simple to begin with. If you've ever, taken this path, gone onto this path to help heal your relationship with food, it will help you, it is going to help you stop these binges. This intuitive eating will help that stop. No need to worry about that. It will, but eventually, okay? Just like when my daughter went to dance class, she was nervous at first, and I told her, eventually you're not going to be nervous. And now she's not. And she's having a good time. So that's the thing with intuitive eating. There's some kinks or some bumps in the road that we have to get through first. But you're going to get to this just magical place. And I plan on interviewing a client who is finishing up my program soon. So stay tuned for that. But Antoinette, yes, bye-bye to diets. Aim for a life-changing experience. It is tough at first, and it does become natural. Exactly. Thank you for that. It does become natural, and that's what's so nice about it. You start doing it without even thinking about it. I'm doing it now without thinking about it, and it's so nice. And it's nice to think. The one thing I do think about is how nice it is not to have to count anything or measure anything out. That is what I think every time I eat now, because I'm like, oh, this is so nice. This is so freeing. And it's wonderful, and I feel really good. So I want to back up for a second and look at a few things because, first of all, mainly the fact that binging, we know, is a response to restriction. And binging is your body's way of just trying to catch up when you have prevented it, when you haven't been giving it nourishment, when you're preventing that nourishment, that's its response right there. And that restriction, that physical deprivation, okay, you're putting that on yourself, and that's going to just accumulate over time. So like 1 week of restricting, or even a month, or even into like a year, if you've been restricting for that long, it's going to be amazing when you finally do hit that recovery, that road to recovery. But that's going to come back to bite you, and it's going to come back full force if you're continuing to restrict, because you're just going to continue to binge. Good morning, Todd. How are you? So the second truth that I want to be really, really clear on, that restriction, it's both physical and it's mental, all right? And when you restrict physically, there's going to be consequences, of course. And when you restrict mentally, there's the same consequences. So don't think that just because you ate a candy bar, you're home free and clear. Like, think about, okay, how did I feel after I just ate this candy bar? Is it bringing on all this guilt? Is it bringing this feeling of fear with food? What would it have been like if you had eaten many candy bars? What would be the difference there for you? Do you still attach that good and bad labels to the food? Are you giving yourself this full, unconditional permission to eat and to eat anything you want? Think about that for a moment. Because these are all these questions that can be asked, that you can just ask yourself. And a lot of things that you have to get figured out before you can actually become an intuitive eater, before you just take on intuitive eating. And can be like, you have to have this, intuitive eating is going to have this impact on your binge eating for sure. Because it can actually help you to heal your relationship with food, okay? But it does take some work. It takes a lot of legwork for sure. Antoinette, I'm on year 2, and I'm so happy with myself every day. Oh my gosh, you are awesome. I love it. Isn't it so awesome? We'll have to chat. I'll have to interview you sometime for sure. We'll have to hop on and tell everybody how wonderful this is, because that would be fun. So it's going to take some work, just like when you are, you have any goal to meet. No matter what your goal is, you got to work towards it, right? You have to unlearn the diet culture, number one, in all of its forms. Whether it's the voices in your head, the restricting, the binging. There's so many different ways that the dieting culture gets into us. Good morning, Jacqueline. How are you? Antoinette, I love it. Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. You are awesome, and I think that's something we should do. Antoinette and I will come on sometime, and we will chat with you all about intuitive eating and how wonderful it is, and how much you would absolutely love it, and how freeing it really, really is, compared to being stuck in that dieting cycle. Because that dieting cycle is not a healthy place to be in, and it's not a healthy way to live, not mentally or physically. So once you become an intuitive eater, and Antoinette can attest to this, it's just so freeing, and you feel good. It takes that stress away. It takes the stress right out of the equation, because you feel good both mentally and physically. And just getting rid of the stress, for one, is a huge game changer right there, because stress plays such a huge role in all of our health aspects, whether it's our sleep or our hunger. It messes with our hunger hormones. There's just so many factors that stress plays, to our health. So you have to unlearn that diet culture in every single way that it comes into your life, and that's where we start. And it's difficult, yeah, those voices are still going to pop into your head. They still come into my head, but now, since I've been eating intuitively for so long, I'm like, yeah, you know what? No, I'm good. This is what I'm doing, and this is how I'm doing it. I kick those voices right away, and that's what you need to do too. And it takes time to learn that, because we're so used to being like, okay, this food is bad, that food is good. I'm being bad for eating the bad food, or now I'm being good because I'm eating a salad. It takes all of that away for you. And it takes time to learn it, but you do get there. And, it's sending you all these different forms of messages that you're holding on to, and we want to just let them go. And you can let your body let go of that deprivation mindset, okay? And that's really important, both physically and mentally, and allow it to actually catch up with the damage that's been done to it in the past. So if you do binge, Instead, try to assess the situation. Don't beat yourself up. Don't get mad at yourself. Don't, it's more about being kind to yourself and being patient with yourself and respecting yourself. Giving yourself that self-love is really, really important. And that's all part of intuitive eating as well. Because you're making up for lost time, okay? And there's nutrients that your body needs. We all need, vitamins, minerals, and nutrients to live and survive in a healthful way. And your body needs these because you've been limiting, if you've been restricting and binging, you've been limiting your food choices for much too long, I'm sure. And when you're limiting, are you still regarding this food with just fear? Are you fearing these foods rather than giving yourself that unconditional permission in non-judgmental, in a non-judgmental way, okay? You're looking at it with curiosity. And I think about, are you still depriving? Hi, Brana, how are you? And Leo, hey, buddy, how are you? Thanks for coming on. So I hope you're all doing well today. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Pop them in the comments for me. So what you want to do is think about these questions that you're answering, all the questions that I just mentioned. Think about how you're answering them. And if you don't like your answer, think about how you can change that. Or think about how you can change the question, okay? Change these answers to these questions, and then ask yourself if you still feel like you're not doing so well, or if you still need some support, or if you would like to try intuitive eating. If it's something that, like I said, I know it can be scary to dive into and to jump into at first, but once you try it, it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. Just like when you try anything new that I mentioned. My daughter now, like I said, she's going to dance and she's absolutely loving it. Did she start there? No, she was scared. She was afraid. She was nervous. And same thing with intuitive eating. When somebody starts that, they're like, oh, I got to let go of all these diet rules that I grew up with or that I've been dealing with for decades. It's scary. It's hard to let go of that. And a lot of that is just, it's kind of just there naturally. I'll catch my clients say a certain something. Or, I was really good today because I had a salad. Or I was really good today because I chose a piece of fruit. That's that diet mentality. Okay, so I teach them to let go of that. You're not good, you're not bad. The food is not good or bad. You're just making a choice for what you feel like having. And you're going to eat it in a way that feels really good to your body, both mentally and physically, because you're not going to overeat it. And I teach you how to do that as well, regardless of whatever food choice you make. Okay, and that's all part of intuitive eating. So, I teach you why diets don't work. And a lot of what I just said, had to do with that because it's not your fault, right? Diets set us up for failure. That's just diet culture. Okay, and we use a lot of mindfulness. We slow down and we de-stress the body, because once we take that stress away, then your body can relax and it can do what it needs to do. It's not going to do what you want it to do if you're under a lot of stress, okay? And then, of course, there's that satisfaction factor, as I say, with choosing whatever food you want. Whatever you're feeling like, you literally have it. You need to be satisfied, because if you're not satisfied, what happens? You're still looking for something else. Then you're eating more than what you would have if you just gave yourself the cookie or the Kit Kat or the chips or whatever you were feeling like. Or if you were feeling like a piece of fruit, then have that. Whatever you're feeling like. But there's that satisfaction factor that comes into play there. Okay? And of course, being kind to yourself and recognizing that you are more. You're so much more than just a shape or a size, okay? Being kind to yourself and loving yourself for who you are and how you are, inside and out, is number one, okay? So we see all these wonderful qualities in ourselves, and we focus on becoming a whole from the inside out. So let me know if you guys have any questions at all about intuitive eating and how to stop and get out of that dieting cycle and become an intuitive eater. And if there's no questions now, I am going to hop off. I have a busy day ahead of me, but I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I'll be talking to you soon. Bye, guys.